Hi, I'm Tyler of The Enthusiasts, and welcome to Under Review, the place where we put the stuff we're enthusiastic about under scrutiny. Today I'll be putting under review a classic tale of what it takes to be a hero, Inuyashiki. The premise is very simple. The titular character is run over by a dimension-hopping spaceship and then rebuilt with the alien's greatest weaponry. See, not even the slightest bit convoluted. Let me get my biggest complaint out of the way right now. The 3D CGI looks terrible, especially when it's compared to the hand-drawn scenes. These CGI models stick out worse than a designated driver sipping water at a bar. Luckily, and not, it is limited to the sections of the show that contain the most action. It's just far too blocky and sluggish to be viable anymore. I'm more than willing to forgive this for the rest of the show, however. The story itself is a by-the-books, what does it mean to be human, and what is a hero setting that is really executed to perfection. A couple elements work great to accomplish this. First is really the naming scheme for each episode. I cannot tell you how excited reading each of the episode titles is to me. Seeing each title grow ever grander and affecting more and more people. By itself, this naming scheme deserves praise. And the second part is really the meat of Inuyashiki, the main characters. All too often shows where someone is given a major power-up or something along that line of trope is undeserving of it, whether it's because of immaturity, their attitude, or any other multiple reasons. And it makes them the hero of the story. Inuyashiki gives you someone who is completely selfless, working himself to death for a family that doesn't appreciate him, at a company that doesn't even know he exists, in a society where he's treated as just being in the way, all while caring about everyone else's well-being more than his own. A kinder, gentler person could not have been chosen as the protagonist. Watching the realistic depiction of Inuyashiki learning how to use his new body is also equal parts humorous and satisfying. It adds a nice depth to him, besides being just a weak old man. And on the flip side of that coin sits the antagonist Shishigami, another seemingly normal person who goes to school, helps his family with whatever they need, and cares deeply for them and a few close friends. Don't get me wrong though, Shishigami is a sociopath. The normality of his interactions with those he loves belies how little he thinks of anyone else's life, and that little complexity frames him as potentially sympathetic, but it's also terrifying at the same time. These two, along with the many people they encounter and change the lives of, are really the best part of Inuyashiki. Yes, the secondary characters have nowhere near the impact that these two have, but the parts of them that are given polish shine brightly and mirror life pretty well. And that is what defines this show and its characters. While this may be sci-fi, it is heavily grounded in reality. Even though most people are not painted very flatteringly, it is very accurate in the sense that humanity as a whole doesn't look good. But that stems from a very vocal and a very dark few, and doesn't really reflect the majority who, despite some flaws, are good people just trying to get by. Now, if after hearing me gush about how much I enjoyed the characters and this type of story, you were expecting me to continue the trend with Inuyashiki's music, you're a little mistaken. The soundtrack is just pretty average, is what you would expect. As per usual for most anime, there are the upbeat action and melancholy soul-searching tracks. Only the goofy pieces sound out of place because they just don't match with how seriously the show is trying to take itself. The theme songs, however, are a completely different story. The opening, My Hero by Man with a Mission, creates the perfect atmosphere for Inuyashiki with its rock styling, combined with the English and Japanese to blend some of the hip-hop in with it, as well as the imagery of the opening itself. It sets up the show perfectly. And to complement starting the show off with your blood pumping is a calming ballad to highlight Shishigami. Now, adding a little emotion to this series, like the ending does, it never hurts, and the beautiful vocals are essential for making the ending work. Now, as a whole, Inuyashiki is a strong series. Its weak points is crappy, hideous CGI. I honestly wish that companies would either figure out how to use 3D CGI properly, or splurge a little for better CGI programming, or simply stop using this garbage. There's really no excuse for this kind of improperly used CGI anymore. Its other bad point is its very standard story. It is very by the books, and if you don't like straight and narrow hero stories with really nothing extraordinary factoring into it, then you won't like the story at all. It'll bore you. And every character really outside of Inuyashiki and Shishigami, everyone else is either depicted as heartless, apathetic, or really just out of touch with reality and bland. But its strongest parts are its two theme songs, which frame each episode perfectly and highlight both Shishigami and Inuyashiki. Now, I am extremely biased towards this kind of story. A hero story that doesn't bestow powers upon an undeserving, ungrateful child who suddenly has a 180 change of heart because now they have godly powers. And being a little bit older, I might just be gravitating towards an older protagonist for these types of shows. But hey, what can I say? I like what I like. Plus, I feel I have to give a small bonus for the show just for mocking Trump.
I have no regrets. The rest of you losers can go do whatever the hell you want. There's no more price to pay.
So for all these reasons, I'm going to give Inuyashiki a 7 out of 10. Heroes are the current thing in anime, and I think this show has a slightly more mature take on it, and that absolutely makes it worth watching. If you liked Inuyashiki and want more hero shows, check out Boku no Hero Academia and One Punch Man. And please also like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you.